Hello and welcome. This is going to be the first video in my solo deadly challenge. I am hoping to beat every level in the game on deadly difficulty with just one character participating. So you can see right here I have a Spellweaver and a Mind Thief. The Mind Thief is just going to spend the whole scenario invisible until its untimely demise. So this is not my very first time playing Black Barrow. This file I am at Prosperity 8, and so I just created this Spellweaver, so it's a level 8 Spellweaver. I didn't let myself go all the way up to level 9, just because at level 9 you're no longer playing Deadly Difficulty, because the monsters are only +2. So level 8 is the highest I can go. And then a level 8 character starts with 135 gold, and then I farmed about 100 extra gold to buy some extra materials to get through this. So I do have high prosperity items and some enhancements to make this a little easier. So the Spellweaver has some difficulties in this scenario. The main thing is just that she's very squishy. She only has 13 health, and so I need to be invisible a lot. You can see on that first turn, I used my Doomed Compass to group these enemies up, and then I have an enhancement on Flashing Burst, and then I also paired that with a Volatile Bomb to get these guys grouped up and all of them wounded. The Spellweaver has basically no way to really get through this Elite Bandit guard because of his 3 shield. So almost all of the Spellweaver's attacks are going to be small damage AoE attacks, and you just do not have the firepower to break through that 3 shield. So I needed a wound on this guy, and I figured if I'm wounding him, I might as well wound the whole room. My goal is to get this first room killed on my first rest cycle. So I also added a darkness enhancement to the bottom of Reviving Ether. That way I get some darkness that I can use to go invisible with the bottom of Frozen Night. So that's my main tool for survivability, is that bottom of Frozen Night. So I'm going to go ahead and use I think this is my first burn card here, just to get some good damage. And then I was able to do some AoE damage with the extra consuming light on Living Torch, and then from my Volatile Bomb. So I've almost got these guys all taken care of. I was planning on using Chromatic Explosion to give myself some fire, so I would have cold and fire for my cold fire this upcoming turn, but I ended up getting a +2 fire and didn't need it anyway. But cold fire is just an amazing spell. Having that frost to being able to stun paired with the wound works out really, really well. So I go ahead and strengthen myself. That way I might get rid of that miss card in my deck. And I actually do. I get the miss and the crit, so everything goes down. I don't even need any wounds. And this is the perfect time to long rest. Now the Spellweaver is a really interesting class because you have one card that is way more valuable than everything else. You cannot lose Reviving Ether, which makes it very risky to ever short rest. And so almost every time I rest in the first half of this scenario, I will be long resting to make sure that I do not lose my Reviving Ether. Now this is a difficult decision. Do I want to open this door and take all of the firepower from these enemies in here, or sit back? So I decided to go ahead and open it and use my boots to get 3 extra movement so that I could run away. I checked to see how far the guards are moving, and you can see I'm counting the hexes right here to figure out where they're going to land. And I could hide in the corner here, but one of these guards would be able to reach me. So I decide to go just a little bit further down where neither of the guards will be able to reach me. So I'm not using the top of Chromatic Explosion here. I really just played a top to get a top. One of the big things that I want is this archer to move forward. So if you recognize the items I have a pendant. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous range from this archer, and that's actually really, really bad. I have the darkness element set, which gives my Frozen Knight 2 extra movement, and so my plan was to use Frozen Knight to run over to the archer and go invisible, and I would have a move 5 to do it. And then I was going to use my Pendant of Dark Pact, which would give me back 2 of my consumable items, and I was going to use my Doomed Compass to have that archer step on both of those traps, and then also get my Power Potion back. But because of that archer immobilizing me, I am not going to be able to get in range to take care of it, which is really unfortunate. Now, the speed tiers on the Spellweaver are very, very important to think about and to remember for what's going on. Obviously, 7 is a very fast card at Mana Bolt, and then I have 26 on Flashing Burst. Now, 26 might seem a little bit risky, particularly when you're dealing with these bandit guards, but it's actually a very, very good speed. The two fastest cards they have are 15, and on their 15 speed card, they do not have any movement. So as long as you are not next to them, if you use a 26 speed card, they will never touch you. Well, at least they may touch you, but you'll be able to go first. And so if you're planning to run away, you will have the ability to. So I go slow here since I was invisible, and I'm able to now get back to my Doom Compass and my Major Power Potion, and I can kindly suggest for this archer to go kill itself. So there are only 2 elites in this scenario. The final room is only white enemies, and both of those elites are very difficult to deal with. So I made sure to allocate a bunch of resources for them. That Doomed Compass is purely for that archer, and then I used a bunch of tools on turn 1 just to make sure that I had everything in that room wounded and that elite bandit guard was taken care of. So I don't have my invisibility cloak anymore. Which will make some of the rooms more difficult, but I do have this Frozen Knight that I can abuse. Invisibility is very, very strong in this challenge because you don't ever have to worry about your ally taking any damage. So, once again, I made sure I was invisible before this long rest. Didn't end up mattering since they just got their Shield and Retaliate card, but I'm being very, very deliberate every turn on which cards I pick. So, I just really needed the top of Flashing Burst because I wanted to get another wound out, but then I needed the bottom of Reviving Ether because the following turn, I have to have Frozen Knight. So that's basically what the whole thought process is for this entire scenario. And then here, I'm far enough away that I should be able to go slow and I would be fine. And this card, they hardly move at all, but I decided to go fast. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get this invisibility up. And these guys are almost dead. Now, I really, really would like to kill them before I need to use my Reviving Ether, because that will give me 7 cards for the final room, which is not a ton. 7 cards is... It's enough, but it's close. On the Spellweaver, it can be very difficult to tell exactly how much stamina you have left, because even though I've only burned 3 cards, they go by very quickly. It also means that you're playing the same cards over and over again a lot, so it seems like I almost always have Reviving Ether and my invisibility from Frozen Knight up. But given what these guys are doing this turn, they're going to be moving 5 spaces, so I can just barely hide away at the top, and I'll be right outside of their range, which is perfect. It also gets me closer to that door for the next room, and then I get my invisibility up, so I will be nice and safe, and I didn't even need to use my boots, although I probably could have used my boots and it wouldn't have mattered at all. This guy also is now at 1 health, which you absolutely love to see, a 1 health wounded enemy. I have 2 options here. I could either Cold Fire and attack for 1 damage on that 4 health enemy and get a Strengthen on it, or I could go for the Mana Bolt and consume either of those elements to have an attack for 3. I was just afraid that if I went the Mana Bolt route, I needed a 0 or better to kill, but if I had gotten the miss, that would have been a little bit awkward. So I figured this way, at least I heal a little bit of health from the heal from Mana Bolt, and then I get the Strengthen from the enhancement I put on there, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about missing. So it's time to Reviving Ether. I did it 1 turn earlier than I needed to, but I didn't want to spend a turn while I had that door open, taking damage and taking hits. And luckily, the top of Reviving Ether also gives me a darkness. However, now that I don't have the bottom of it, I won't have instant free easy access to darkness from a card that I'm going to be wanting to use every turn. The only way I can get darkness now is from my the bottom, using the move to create any element on Chromatic Explosion. Taking a long time here trying to figure out exactly what I want to do, because I would love to use this Unstable Explosive to hit all 4 of these enemies with an attack, but it's just not realistic. And these bandit archers, they are the damage dealers, they are the dangerous ones. And so I decided to go ahead and throw out all my power potions and everything. Living Bones can be really annoying, but mostly they're kind of like meat shields. They obviously have a shield, they have 13 health, and then they have 2 cards that give them heals, and then their 12 speed card gives them extra shield. so they're just very annoying. Luckily, I was strengthened on that previous turn, and I was able to get out both my curse and my miss, which was really, really lucky. I do end up using those boots, and use the chromatic explosion to set cold so that I can get a nice stun here. That this bandit archer will only have one turn left, and I'm realizing right now that I just walked in close enough that the archer is gonna be able to hit me. I thought about restarting the round and maneuvering so that I wouldn't get hit, but I'm full health. I can take a hit from an archer. They are painful, but I can take one. Unfortunately, I didn't have fire, so my cold fire did basically no damage, but it's always nice to have your enemies stunned. And I went slow on that previous turn, so now I actually have a safe long rest. Actually, I'm not sure if I choose to do that or not, though. At this point, I don't have Reviving Ether, so I can lose basically any card. And I lost Frozen Night, so no more invisibility. I won't be able to cheese that for the rest. But I do have the ability to get to put a wound on these guys and get some damage out. So I can't use any AoEs anymore. All of my items over on the left are grayed out, so I'm just going to have to fight these guys old school. Oops, I accidentally sped this turn up, but that's alright. They were just stunned anyway. You gotta love Mana Bolt, making sure you're always going faster than everything. And then here, I'm going to get hit, but it's probably not the end of the world. You get a +1 and a -1. You can take that any time of day. Now, the bottom of Cold Front is really interesting. It makes you suffer no damage and gain Retaliate 3 at range 3 for your next 3 hits. So that will be really useful once I only have 1 left, because it can basically deal 9 true damage to him through his shield. But when I have 2, they would get rid of it really quickly. So Living Torch to immobilize this guy. I get the stun too, which is nice because now even if he draws his heal card, he won't be removing that wound. Because wound is going to be a nice consistent damage output for me, but wound is much, much weaker. I definitely should have strengthened before doing that, but oh well. Wound is much, much weaker against enemies that have any sort of healing. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, something to remember. And here we go. I was planning on going for a big cold front and hitting both of them, but that enemy just so happened to get his heal on this turn. So he's no longer wounded, and he healed that health, so he's not going to die. And here I do not decide to set the bottom of cold front. I will be doing that soon because one of these guys is basically dead, and so I chose to not lose cold front there because making sure I don't take any damage, I can't die to any crits, and dealing 9 true damage is very good since the healthier of these enemies only has 10 health left. And then I made sure I had my light up in that previous turn, so now I will have the extra damage, the AoE 2 damage from Living Torch, so that plus the wound will take care of this guy on top, and then obviously immobilizing this one skeleton, make sure he won't reach me. So very safe, and then now I can get my cold front up, and he's down to 4 health, so I just need to do 1 damage to him and have him hit me 1 time, so I can long rest here for free. It's safe. He has an attack for 2, and he does nothing, so it's not going to proc my cold front, but that's all right. I still have a couple turns left. I just need him to deal 1 damage to me, and then that will proc my cold front and get the retaliate. Flashing Burst is definitely a good card to keep here because even if I miss, I will get the wound, which will deal 1 damage to him, and then he will die to that retaliate. So hopefully I'm faster than him here, but neither of these cards are losses, so I'll be able to long rest after. And I am faster, so I can just step away so I'm not at disadvantage. Probably kill right here, and I miss. But it's not a big deal. I just need him to hit me 1 time, and he misses. And so I have no turns left. This is it. And he is healing this turn. All I need him to do is damage me. And he manages to pull through. The retaliate goes off. I just have to lose my card. I have 0 turns left. It's turn 30. But I have won my first level on the solo deadly challenge. That ending is just hilarious to me. I absolutely love it. But feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. the next video is already up. It is the Brute doing the Barrow layer all by himself. So have a good one, guys. Thank you.